Michael Bisping, who's been calling the action tonight, talking to all our British and Liverpudlian fighters in the cage tonight, and a mixed result for the Brits. We started off really strong with Molly McCann, Jack Shaw, Paddy Pimblett, but let's start by talking about Darren Till and Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson, 5-0 now. I mean, he really has cemented himself, I think, as the next one behind Izzy and Rob when they finally fight for that title. Words on Darren first before we talk about Derek.
Yeah, look, listen, obviously commiserations to Darren. It was a tough night at the office. And I'm sure he's very upset. He exited the cage very quickly. It's a clear sign that you're annoyed. There's probably a lot going on behind the scenes that we don't know. And of course, that again, it's another loss on his record, and it's further halting his progression to becoming champion of the world. But what I will say this in terms of encouragement, he's only 28 years old. I had many, many ups and downs throughout my career, and maybe some tweaks. Maybe, I'm not suggesting he leaves Team Carbon, but maybe go somewhere where they have a heavier influence on wrestling, certainly on jiu-jitsu as well, with absolute respect. The ground game, could have been a little better there tonight. No shame in the takedowns. Derek Brunson's a strong wrestler, and he's built his entire career on that. But I thought when he hit the ground, I thought he could have done some things a little better. Also, another thing, far be it for me to dissect Darren's career. I've got nothing but respect. We're personal friends, so I'm not here to knock the guy. But he's only 28 years old. He needs to make some changes. I think perhaps and move back down to welterweight. When you look at Derek Brunson compared to him, Derek Brunson's a much bigger guy. I'm not talking height-wise. Height-wise, very similar, but when you look at the frame and with that muscle comes a lot of strength. And certainly when you're fighting guys like Derek Brunson, where the whole MO is to take you down, of course technique comes into play, but a lot of what comes into play is strength. Once you get to these clinch positions, I'm not going to grab you, Caroline, don't worry. But if we do, and I know you used to be a gladiator, but still, come on, check it out. It comes down to power. And Derek kind of out-muscled him in those situations as well. So Darren obviously is heartbroken. I know how much this means to him. I know how much he put into this training camp. He was so focused. But it's not over. Yeah. It's not over. Yes, it's a bump in the road. It halts the dreams for now. The title aspirations, forget about those for a little bit. He's got to do some work. Unfortunately, he was just away for 14 months or something like that, at least a year. So he's come back. He tried to have a comeback, but didn't go to plan. Unfortunately, you're fighting the best people in the world. Derek Brunson is no joke. That's 5 in a row for him. And yeah, Darren, keep your chin up, mate. Listen, you got it. You got all the skills. You really do. You have all the potential to become a champion one day. Youth is on your side, but you got to stay the course. You got to stay focused. Do not give up on yourself. After all, somebody very, very smart once said, "Quitters never win." Available in all good bookshops.
There you go. You heard it here first or second or in the book. But talking about Derek Brunson, 5-0 now, as you said. The kind of talk going into it was that if he wrestles, it's kind of his game. Not that Darren's easy to take down, not that he hasn't got heavy hands, but that was kind of the narrative going into it. So the game plan, I expect, played out as he would have wanted it to.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, he's a very accomplished wrestler. You'd be a fool not to use your weapons, use your tools in a mixed martial arts contest where wrestling is allowed. Of course, fights start on the feet, so that always favours Darren, or the striker, if you will. But a good striker like Derek Brunson, a guy that's been around for so long and fought the calibre of fighters that he has. I mean, you look at the resume of Derek Brunson, he's been in there with killers. He's been in there with the best in the world. He really has, So, he's learned from those as well. I mean, look at Derek compared to Darren. Darren's 28. Derek had the up and downs. Now he's on a 5-fight win streak and he's calling out the champion. Whether or not he gets that fight, that remains to be seen because he's been there once. But again, and I'm going back to Darren, but if you look at Derek Brunson and look at his trajectory, look at my career, the ups and downs that I had, there's still a good chance for Darren if he stays the course, if he makes the sacrifices, if he goes and, rounds out his skill set a little bit, work on some wrestling. I don't know how much wrestling he did in training camp, but that should have been paramount. In this training camp, take down defense and getting back to his feet should have been absolute paramount because he's always ahead when it comes to the striking against somebody like a Derek Brunson. But still, sorry, I'm going back to Darren because, that's my boy. But Derek, tonight, I thought he looked fantastic. I mean, the opening round, I was concerned for Darren there. I thought he might have, it was looking close to being a stoppage. Of course, there was big swelling as well for Darren's eye. And I'll tell you something, Darren stands in the southpaw, and it was this eye that got damaged and got swollen. For me, obviously I know about eye damage, right? But when I was fighting, I was a southpaw, so this is my bad eye, and that was back. So my lead eye sees everything. Had it been this way, I'd have been screwed, because I can't see you now. You don't exist. But this way round, I can see everything, because this is leading. For Darren, his lead eye was badly swollen, and I'm sure that affected him as well.
Yeah, well, Derek Brunson has fought Israel Adesanya before, but back in 2018, before he was champion, I'm sure he's evolved a lot as a fighter, and I'm sure that'd be a great fight for us all to see. Let's talk now about the debut of Paddy, the Baddie Pimblett. I mean, the energy backstage here was incredible, both him and Molly embracing one another after their wins. Paddy got a performance of the night, as did Tom Aspinall, and then Molly got a fight of the night as well against Kim. So great news for the Liverpudlians. But Paddy, there was so much hype on him coming into this fight. You could say pressure, but he didn't show any of that, did he? He just had fun.
He said I was going to steal the show, and I was like, Paddy, don't put so much pressure on yourself. But that's what he did. He came out here, he definitely stole the show. I'm sure that's what most people are talking about right now. Fun fight, great fight. There was a couple of things that I'm sure he didn't count on happening, like those left hooks finding the mark. And like I said in our interview, he did almost get wobbled and knocked out. But that's what makes for a great fight. And that's what's going to make Paddy's star even brighter, because when people see that and they see the kind of performances and they see the heart and then they see him on the microphone, they see what he can do, and to go through a war like that and then to get the knockout, I mean, come on. We never saw any of his sensational grappling either. So trust me, this man has got a bright start, a bright future, and you can't start a UFC career any better than what he did tonight. Congratulations, Paddy Pimblett.
It was almost better, well, probably not for him, but to see him go through that adversity and come back even makes for a better story. And I love your interview when you said, well, you didn't tell me you're going to potentially get knocked out first. And what did he say? Scousers.
I'm not sure what he said.
Never get knocked out.
No, Scousers never get knocked out. Yeah, well, maybe they don't. But still, listen, congratulations to Paddy. Congratulations to Molly. Tom McBride, I believe, is the future of the heavyweight division. I do firmly believe he'll be a champion one day. And Darren Till, he's still championship material. He's still got time on his side, you know, and that's a great commodity to have.
And Molly, it was a bit of a career-saving fight for her tonight. I think, you know, there was nothing else but for her to win tonight. You could see that in her eyes. She came out fast. She went back to her boxing, some dirty boxing in there as well. Were you impressed with her performance?
Very much impressed. Very much impressed with everything she did, her mentality, her aggressiveness, her aggression, the way she walked forward and took the fight to Ji Young Kim. Kim's a tough opponent, and I thought Kim looked fantastic as well. And those two put on quite the display. It was a tremendous fight. And I know for Molly coming into this, she felt a lot of pressure. You know, obviously she'd lost her last fight on a contract. She wants to continue being a fighter. Honestly, even if she'd lost after that fight tonight, I can't see how the UFC wouldn't re-sign her. It was such an entertaining fight, and she had all the ingredients that you want to see of a real fighter. You know, as I say, I'm not Dana White, but if I was cutting the checks or giving out the contracts, I would have given her one straight away.
And you talked about Tom Aspinall. He's climbing those heavyweight rankings. But a quick word to finish off about Jack Shaw.
Oh, Jack Shaw. I mean, listen, the man's incredible. He really is. He's kind of got swallowed under some of the other storylines tonight, but he is phenomenal. Technically brilliant in every way. 15-0, undefeated. That's such a marketable tool to have. He's a great young man. He's got an excellent work ethic and just well-rounded skills. As I said on the broadcast, I compared him to George St. Pierre, and that's grand praise indeed. But I do believe it's fitting. You know, the man is extremely well-rounded. He's got a great work ethic. He's a hell of an athlete, undefeated, and again, potentially the first ever Welsh champion.
Well, there you go. You heard it here. Thank you, Mike, for all your insights. I'm sure everybody's...
Never been so proud to claim a Welshman.
I'm sure there's lots of celebrations going back in Liverpool, but of course, not the night for Darren Till. We hope he heals up and gets better, and we see him in there soon. Thank you.